everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Paulina, and today I'm so excited to share a special update, which is my 24-week pregnancy journey and how I'm balancing it all as a doctor in training. So as a pediatric cardiology fellow, I care for children with heart problems, and my job is very busy, demanding, but it's incredibly rewarding. And now I'm also stepping into one of the most exciting and probably challenging roles of my life, which is becoming a mom. So I'm currently 24 weeks pregnant, and I want to share my experience with others. As a doctor and now as a soon-to-be mom, I feel like I have a unique perspective on pregnancy as a woman that's in medicine navigating a demanding training program. And I hope it resonates with others who are also juggling similar high-pressure careers. My hope is to provide you with some helpful insights, and if anything I share resonates with you or sparks a question, feel free to drop your thoughts or questions in the comments below because I love to hear from you. Now, here's a little bit about my professional life. I'm currently in my third year, which is my final year of Pediatric Cardiology Fellowship, but things aren't exactly slowing down for me. In fact, life is about to get even busier, and after my baby arrives, I'll be making a big move from Mississippi to California. So just 2 months postpartum, I'm going to be starting my next fellowship of adult congenital heart disease at Stanford University. 2025 is going to be very busy, and as I navigate everything ahead, I thought it'd be helpful to share how my husband and I approached the timing of our pregnancy alongside with my busy work life. My husband and I have been planning this pregnancy for about a year, and scheduling was a big part of that conversation because we knew we wanted to have a baby before I started another challenging stage of my professional life. And we factored in the possibility of this big move if I matched somewhere else for my adult congenital heart disease fellowship. But let me just say this up front, is there is no perfect time to have a baby. And even though we wanted to have a baby during my final year of training, it was important to us that I gave birth while we were still insured through my current institution before starting my next fellowship in July. I also didn't want my pregnancy to affect my next fellowship because I do believe that those first 6 months in a new place are crucial for learning the specialty, meeting new people, and understanding the workflow. So the reality is that we decided that if we didn't get pregnant by September, we'd probably postpone this pregnancy, but thankfully everything worked out. And so far, one of the biggest adjustments I've had to make at work is really just learning how to slow down, because I'm the type of person who kind of goes into autopilot mode when I'm in the zone. But thankfully, my coworkers have actually been so kind and supportive, so they've been reminding me to pause, drink water, have snacks. And let me tell you, this baby is already making it clear she's taking up a lot of my energy. Because at 24 weeks, she's growing strong. So for comparison, the average baby at this stage measures about 35 centimeters and weighs around 660 grams. But at my last scan, she was in the 84th percentile, so she's probably a little bit bigger than average. And babies at this stage are still working on building fat and maturing their lungs. If they're born premature, then they need breathing support because their lungs aren't quite ready yet. So she definitely still has a lot of growing to do before she decides to make her big debut. Let's talk about the bump. I feel like it's the third person in the room now. It's getting to be large and in charge. And I feel like after I hit 20 weeks, my belly really seemed to grow overnight. And now most people can tell I'm pregnant. And honestly, I love my bump. It really amazes me how my body changes every day to give my daughter exactly what she needs. That said, while pregnancy is beautiful, not every day feels magical. And thankfully, my first trimester is behind me, and my energy has really improved a lot in the second trimester. But still, these past few weeks have been challenging in new ways. And the first thing I've noticed is that I'm feeling lightheaded at times, and I've also felt so hungry. It's wild. Like, I've been waking up in the middle of the night just dying for a snack, or I just can't fall back asleep. So that's been rough, and sleep in general has been harder for me this trimester. Between pregnancy aches and pains, my insomnia has been at an all-time high. However, I have to say that one of the most rewarding parts of this journey so far has been feeling more of my baby's movements. I think this is probably my favorite thing about pregnancy so far, and I feel so lucky that I actually started noticing her pretty early on, even though they were just subtle flutters at first. And now she's full on kicking, punching, shifting around, and feeling her move throughout the day not only amazes me, but it also makes me feel so much more connected to her. And her little movements have also made me feel even more emotional. Every time she gives me those little tiny reminders that she's with me, I can't help myself just falling more in love with her. And it's truly one of the greatest gifts of this pregnancy, like just feeling that deep, unconditional love and realizing that I'm already becoming a mother. That connection has been one of the most beautiful parts of this whole experience. So, when it comes to how I've been doing during this pregnancy, I'm incredibly grateful that things are going well overall. And I absolutely love my obstetrician. She's been fantastic about keeping a close watch on my thyroid levels, which have been tightly controlled. This is so important because thyroid hormone doesn't just affect me, it also plays a crucial role in the baby's development too. And because I have PCOS, my doctor did mention that I'm at a higher risk of developing gestational diabetes. So, to stay ahead of this, we did an early glucose test at 16 weeks, which I'm happy to say that I passed. And we'll be repeating it again at 28 weeks to make sure everything is still on track. Gestational diabetes is something I definitely worry about since it can have negative health implications for the baby, but I'm staying proactive and doing everything I can to reduce the risk. Another step I'm taking is getting a Tdap booster. I've also asked my husband and my close family members who will be around the baby to get theirs too. Unfortunately, I've seen too many cases of pertussis, which is a very serious illness for newborns. So taking this precaution helps me feel more confident about protecting her environment as much as possible. And finally, one health check that's a little bit more unique to my situation is that I'll be having a fetal echocardiogram. As a pediatric cardiology fellow, unfortunately, I've seen too many cases of congenital heart disease that were missed during routine scans. And thankfully, all my scans so far have been normal. And from what I've been able to observe during ultrasounds, her heart looks great. Still, having a dedicated fetal echo performed by my trusted co-fellow and one of our attendings will definitely give me even more peace of mind. This experience has also reminded me how important it is to prioritize my own health. As someone working in medicine, I'm so used to focusing on the needs of others that it can be very easy to overlook my own. And that's why during this pregnancy, I've created a list of non-negotiables to make sure that I'm taking care of myself and my baby. So these are small, intentional habits that help me stay healthy and balanced during such a demanding time. So first, I found a prenatal pack that I absolutely love because it's tailored to the specific trimester that I'm in, so I don't have to stress about like squeezing in extra foods or minerals into my diet. It's all covered, which is a huge relief. And second, even on the days where my food aversions are strong, I make sure to eat something every few hours or so, even if it's just a small snack. Keeping my energy levels up is a top priority, and this small habit makes a big difference. And finally, I made it a goal to include some form of protein with every meal. And I'll admit this has been kind of a challenge for me, but I know how essential protein is as a building block for so many aspects of pregnancy. So whether it's through a quick snack or adding it into a meal, I do my best to get it in whenever I can. On a different note, I've also started thinking about my birth plan, but I don't have anything set in stone yet. With my due date on April 30th, I feel like I still have some time to make it through and think on some of these decisions. One thing that I'm sure about is that I want my husband and my mother with me during labor and delivery. My husband is my rock. I can't imagine going through this without him right by my side as my main birthing partner. And my mother, on the other hand, is my emotional support. So her nurturing energy is exactly what I'll need when I'm at my most vulnerable, and having her there will give me so much comfort. I wouldn't say I'm afraid of labor and delivery, but having attended many other deliveries, I feel like I know the gist of what to expect. And for me, the challenge will really be kind of relinquishing that control and stepping fully into the patient role instead of the provider role. I think having my husband and mother there will help me feel protected and just allow me to focus entirely on the delivery without worrying too much about the medical aspects of it. Another area I've had to adjust during this pregnancy is exercise. I've definitely scaled back from what I was doing before, and honestly, that hasn't been easy. And even though my energy is better this trimester, there's still days where I come home and my whole body just aches. And on those days, I can't even imagine mustering the energy to put on workout clothes, let alone doing a workout. I've been trying to give myself more grace in this area, but I've also noticed that if I don't do some form of movement, my mental state really tends to take a hit. And that's why I'm so grateful that we invested in a Peloton. Trust me, this isn't a plug. I'm not trying to sell you anything, but it's really been a game changer because I don't have to worry about putting on a cute outfit or driving to the gym. I can just hop on at home and do a quick ride, which has been such a lifesaver for my physical and mental health. And like I mentioned earlier, sleep has been tricky this trimester. So if you have any tips, tricks, please let me know in the comments below because I'm all ears. A few things that have helped me so far are my pregnancy pillow. I also have a relaxing pillow spray and meditation. But even with these, it's still a work in progress, so I'd love to hear what's worked for you guys. And lastly, I want to kind of touch on stress. I'm naturally a pretty anxious person, which might surprise some people to hear, but I've been making a conscious effort not to stress about planning everything to a T and instead just trying to take things as they come. I mention this because about 2 months ago, I had an episode of supraventricular tachycardia, which is an abnormal heart rhythm. And thankfully, my heart checked out fine, but it was kind of a wake-up call. And since then, I've been focusing on just soothing my nervous system and doing whatever I can to ensure that stress doesn't become a trigger for me. One thing that's been helping is a bit of pre-nesting, and we haven't really purchased any big items yet, but we've already received some incredibly sweet gifts when we went back home to Chicago over Christmas. And since we'll only be in this apartment for about 2 more months after the baby arrives in April, before moving to California, I'm trying to keep everything very minimal. And I picked up a few organizational items to fit her things into our bedroom in a way that's easy to take down and pack when the time comes. And it's been fun kind of thinking through how to set up a cozy, functional space for her that works for now and then transitions easily to our new home. Once I have everything finalized, maybe I'll make a video to share and see how it all comes together. Overall, I can't express enough how grateful I am to have reached this 24-week milestone. It's incredible how fast this pregnancy is just flying by, and with everything happening, finishing my current fellowship and preparing for what's ahead, I'm really focused on taking things one day at a time and just being present in the moment. So if you're on a similar journey, whether it's pregnancy, a busy career, or both, I'd love to hear how you're navigating it all. So share your thoughts, experiences, questions in the comments below. I'd love to connect and keep this conversation going. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stick around for more updates on this amazing adventure.